All right, so we're going to talk about storage of your firearm. Now, there's a couple different things we have to think about. We have to think about the size of the firearm. We have to think about putting maybe a flashlight or something in the storage container. And we have to think about where we're storing the firearm. For example, are you going to store the firearm in a check luggage bag when you're flying? Are you going to store it in your home where it never moves? Or are you going to store it in your vehicle? So in Colorado, you have to keep the firearms away from unauthorized persons. That means you need to lock it up. So maybe you have a safe, but that one safe is going to hold all your firearms. And maybe it's not really conducive to getting to your firearm in the event of a home invasion, okay? And also in the state of Colorado, they just passed a law. I forget the law number. Forgive me on that one. But the law basically says you can store your firearm in your vehicle, but when you leave your vehicle, it has to be in a locked container. It was initially you couldn't use the glove box, but they retracted that. You can actually use your glove box as long as you can put it underneath lock and key. So I don't really advise on the glove box. I do advise on maybe getting a lock box that has a key or a code that you can actually attach to your vehicle. But at the end of the day, you can use your glove box if necessary. Okay, so let's talk about different types of storage, okay? So this Canic box and most other boxes are going to be about the same, right? So your Glock box, your Canic box, most of these other boxes that come with a firearm, they're going to have a couple of holes for locks. But if you can see here, it would be really easy to pry a lock off of this box. It's just thin plastic, no big deal. The other thing is, and we've already cleared all these firearms. The other thing is, you know, it's hard to get to. You know, you have all this other stuff in there, right? And this, right? So if I'm trying to use this for self-defense purposes, well, maybe I want to think something else. Maybe there's something different I need to do so I can actually get to it quickly and efficiently, okay? This box will work with air travel. You can lock it. You can't pry it open easily. It will work with air travel, and we'll talk about that here in a little while. But that wouldn't be my preferred box to use for air travel. Personally, I like this Hornady Security lock box for air travel and also for vehicle storage because it's mobile. And if I wanted to, I could actually drill into the bottom of this, into whatever thing I wanted to drill it into, so that it is immobile. The key is different from your other keys, but again, it's cumbersome for self-defense purposes. And because it's so cumbersome, you could find yourself trying to get into this box in a self-defense situation, and, well, you'll probably end up using the box to actually use for self-defense instead of the firearm. But anyway, you can lose a key, and so I don't really like keyed boxes. It does really work well for air travel, and it works well for your vehicle stuff. I definitely wouldn't use this for my home if it's something that I want to get to quickly. The next option, your coded ones. You also have biometric ones you can get, which is fine. It's going to work just about the same way, okay? There's going to be a battery component to this, so you have to change your batteries out every now and again. You want to be able to get into the actual lockbox. And so when we're talking about the size of the firearm, for example, this Canic right here, with the magazine out, it barely fits in there, right? So I'm not going to use this Canic in this lockbox. I could use this Smith & Wesson, okay? And then I could put a flashlight in there as well for nighttime purposes, okay? So the size of the firearm is going to be very important to what lockbox you're going to get. Okay. What I like to do in my home is I'll have whatever lockboxes I have in my home, they are the same, meaning they have the same code. So that way I don't have to remember different codes. And they're the same layout. For example, this is a Hornady Security with a 4-digit code. And this is also a Hornady Security with a 4-digit code. But you can put more stuff in there. For example, that Canic I just had, that'll go in there. My flashlight can go in there. My wife's pistol could go in there, right? There's a lot more stuff that can go into one of these things. And again, you can attach it to the wall or something of that nature. This particular model, there are actually holes in the bottom. You can attach it to the wall, right? So, or to maybe to the side of the bed or something. But again, it's not coming out, right? So just know your equipment and know how to use it. Okay, so now we're gonna go to this one, right? So this one's a very good one. It's not thin plastic, right? So you can actually lock it on both sides so you can't pry it open, okay? This is a condition 1 box, and you can put multiple magazines and firearms in there as such, okay? This is what I typically take to the range when there's customers that need to borrow or rent a firearm. This is a very good option to travel with as well, but obviously it's really big, okay? The problem with any of these is that if you just take out this rod right here, you take out these rods, that rod, this rod, you can just defeat the locking system altogether. So these are not permanent solutions to any kind of storage, okay? Last thing I'm gonna talk about on storage is your magazines. If you have a magazine that's completely full, like I do here, right? This is my bedside home defense magazine for my Glock. If you have your magazine completely full and you leave it in there for months and months and months at a time, the spring will wear out. So it's beneficial to change your magazines out every now and again. So let's say every 2 months, every 3 months maybe. You can do it once a quarter, right? Every 3 months, and then you'll be fine, right? So let the spring relax, use another one, and then continue to swap them out. So that's what we're talking about with storage, okay? So again, it's gonna be up to you how you store your firearm, but in the state of Colorado, you're supposed to keep your firearms from prohibited persons or unauthorized persons, to include minors that do not have the permission of their parents. So if you have a child that's 16 years old and they get a hold of your firearm, you could be held liable for any action they take with that firearm. Make sure that you store your firearm appropriately.